Hi, I welcome you all to today's lesson. I am Sarah Ewisiwa Cranton, your maths facilitator. It's Basic 5 Maths on the topic division. This is our fourth lesson on division. Let's go through our objectives. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to determine numbers that are divisible. 1, 2. And then next one is 5. Today we have two objectives. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to determine numbers that are divisible by, the first part is 2, and then I is 5. We are going to look at both numbers. Before we begin, our assignment or the task for the previous lesson, let's look at it. You were asked to write 10 three-digit numbers that are divisible by 6. Yours will be different from mine, provided you followed the rule, the divisibility rule of 6, which I hope you did. So be sincere to yourself and then mark. You can't have the same digits, just as you can see on the screen. Yours will be different. This is what I have written. And all these numbers are divisible by 6. Okay, on today's lesson, you should be able to determine numbers that are divisible by 2 and then 5. So let's look at the first part, divisibility rule of 2. Before you can determine if a number is divisible by 2, there is a rule you must follow. And what is that rule? It is divisibility rule of 2. What does it say? It says a number is divisible by 2. A number is divisible by 2 if that number is an even number. If that number is an even number, or if the last digit of that number is uneven. Go for those with more than 2 digits. Okay. Now, which of these numbers are divisible by 2? Looking at the rule, it says the number should be an even number. Example, 2. 2 is an even number. It is divisible by 2. 4 is an even number and is divisible by 2. 8 is an even number, so it is divisible by 2. Okay. Now let's look at the numbers that we have here. The first one is 12. Is 12 divisible by 2? The rule says the number should be an even number, or the last digit should be an even number. So you have 12. Look at the last digit. It is 2. 2 is an even number. So 12 is divisible by 2. And 12 itself is an even number. The next one, 16. Let's check if 16 is divisible by 2. 16 is an even number, or the last digit of 16 is an even number. So it is divisible by 2. The next on the screen is 15. The next number is 15. Is 15 an even number? Check the last digit. The last digit is 5. Is 5 an even number? No, 5 is not an even number. So 15 is not divisible by 2. What about 19? Is 19 divisible by 2? The last digit is 9. 9 is not an even number. So 19 can never be divisible by 2. What about 22? 2 is an even number. Look at the last digit. It's an even number. So 22 is divisible by 2. $104. Is 104 divisible by 2? The last digit over here is 4. Even number. So it is divisible by 2. 104 is an even number. It is divisible by 2. 349. Is it divisible by 2? Let's check the last digit. The last digit is 9. Is 9 an even number? No, it is not an even number. Therefore, 349 is not divisible by 2. We are looking at numbers that are divisible by 2. Alright, 100. Is 100 an even number? Look at the last digit. It's 0. 0 is an even number. So 100 is divisible by 2. You can divide 100 by 2 and it will be 50. So 100 is divisible by 2. 177. Is it divisible by 2? The last digit is 7. 7 is not an even number. 177 is not a multiple of 2, or it is not divisible by 2. 406. 406. Let's check the last digit. It is 6. 6 is an even number. So 406 can be divided by 2 without any remainder. Number 11. 1010. Is 1010 divisible by 2? Is it a multiple of 2? Before we can say that, whether it is divisible by 2 or not, let's check the last 2 digits and see. The last digit and see. And the last digit is 0. 0 is an even number. So 1010 is divisible by 2. $4,345. Is it divisible by 2? Okay, let's check. The last digit over here is 5. 5 is not an even number. So 4,345 is not divisible by 2. Learners, check the 13th one for me. 8,990. Is it divisible by 2? Yes, 990 is divisible by 2. Why? The last digit is 0, and 0 is an even number. So it is divisible by 2, or it is a multiple of 2. We have 14. Number 14. It is 1,000. 1,000. Is 1,000 divisible by 2? The last digit is 0. Therefore, it is divisible by 2. Number 15. 7,489. Check whether it is divisible by 2 or not. Before we can determine if it is divisible by 2 or not, check the last two. The last digit. The last digit is 9. 9 is not an even number. So 7,489 is not divisible by 2. 8,470. The last digit of the number is 0. 0 is an even number, so it is divisible by 2. 9,651. Is it divisible by 2? Let's look at the last digit. And it is 1. 1 is not an even number. It is odd. So 9,651 is not divisible by 2. And it is not an even number as well. The last one, 6,432. Is it an even number? Yes, it is. Because the last digit is 2. 2 is an even number. So the whole number is divisible by 2. Having done the divisibility rule of 2, let's look at that of 5. Remember, we had two objectives. How can we determine if a number is divisible by 5? Before we can do that, we must follow the rule. That is the divisibility rule of 5. And it says a number is divisible by 5 if the last number is either 0 or 5. So simple. A number is divisible by 5 if the last number is either 0 or 5. Take note, a number is divisible by 5 if the last number is either 0 or 5. It means that number is divisible by 5 or is a multiple of 5. Can you cite an example? Yes, I have 5. 5 is divisible by 5. Why am I saying that? This is the number, this is the last number, and it is 5. 5 is a multiple of 5. So it is divisible by 5. What about 10? Even if you don't know, look at the last digit. It is 0. And what does the rule say? If the last number is either 0 or 5, and this one we have 0 over here, the last digit is 0. So 10 is a multiple of 5. Let's look at these numbers. Which of these numbers are divisible by 5? And I hope you have started writing them down. Which of these numbers are divisible by 5? The first one is 50. Is it divisible by 5? Let's check. We will check before we will tick. 50, the last digit is 0. So 50 is divisible by 5. I have 78. Look at the last digit. It is 8. 78. Is it divisible by 5? The rule says the last number should be either 0 or 5. So since it is not 0 or 5, the whole number is not divisible by 5. The next one is 45. I can see 5 at the end. That is the last digit. So 45 is divisible by 5, or it is a multiple of 5. 25. The last digit is 5. So 25 is a multiple of 5. What about 99? 99. Learners, 99, is it divisible by 5? No way. It ends with 9. The last digit is 9. Therefore, it is not divisible by 5. 81. 81 is not divisible by 5. The last digit is neither 0 nor 5. So it is not divisible by 5. I have 121. Look at the last one. Forget about the rest of the digits. Concentrate on the last digit. So the last one is 21. Since it is 21, it is not divisible. Since it is 1, it is not divisible by 5. 200. The last digit is 0. It is divisible by 5. We have 705. Always look at the last digit. Since it is 5, this number is divisible by 5. 300. The last digit is 0. So it is divisible by 5. I have 975. Letters. Check if it is divisible by 5. Divisibility rule of 5. If the last digit is either 0 or 5, it means that number is divisible by 5. So I have 975 here. So you can say that it is divisible by 5, since its last digit is 5. 150. Is it divisible by 5? Yes. It ends with 0. That is the last digit. So it is divisible by 5. Number 11. 251. If you follow the rule quickly, you will see that this number is not divisible by 5 because last digit is 1. So it is not divisible by 5. 251 is not divisible by 5. What about 250? 250. The last digit is 0. So it is divisible by 5. Divisibility rule of 5. Learners, have we been able to learn something today? Yes, we have learned the divisibility rule of 5 and then 2. We have learned the divisibility rule of 2 and then 5. Before we can determine if a number is divisible by 2 or divisible by 5, there is a rule that we must follow. And what does it say? Let's go back and check. Divisibility rule of 2 says a number is divisible by 2 if that number is an even number or if the last digit of that number is even or an even number. So I want you to write this rule down. That is the divisibility rule of 2. Just write it down. Okay, now let's write the rule for 5. Divisibility rule of 5. A number is divisible by 5 if the last number is either 0 or 5. Write it down. Alright, before I leave, I have an assignment for you. Write 5 numbers that are divisible by 2. You have 2 questions over here. Write 5 numbers that are divisible by 2. Follow the rule and write any number. So write 5 numbers that are divisible by 2. And the second one says, write 5 numbers that are divisible by 5. This time, if you see any number that is divisible by 2, you can quickly tell. And also, any number or numbers that are divisible by 5, you can say it as well. I hope you have the homework in your book. Until we meet again, enjoy the rest of the day.